Municipal Building Police Department. We're going to pull out and go into downtown. Passing the Episcopal Church on our right. Going into downtown, passing the Catholic Church on our right. Turn right at the dummy light. And this is the dummy light as it now looks. It was hit about a month ago, so it's a little broken, but they plan to redo this whole intersection soon. This is Croton Corners on the right, which is vacant right now, but it's been leased by somebody else and it should soon open. It's Robin's Pharmacy across from us. We're going to come through downtown now. And on our right is the famous Black Cow Coffee House. We have our Happy Hearts. On our left is the Methodist Church. Up the hill is the high school, but we're going to go past. We're going to go right onto Maple Street. Kids are getting out of school now. There's a blue pig on the right. Soon coming up on 4151 Maple Street, which is a new affordable housing development in the construction phase. And this is where CROTON125 wrote on the wall studs, "Good wishes for the people." We're going to turn into the post office and CVS. CVS used to be a Grand Union. Here's our post office. You can see the housing development in front of us. This is 33 affordable housing units. Here's a gas station. I don't know what will happen in the future, if we'll have gas stations or we'll stick to electric. Up ahead is the Croton Colonial Diner, but we're going to turn in here and turn around. This is stores. Croton Mini Deli. It's the best bacon, egg, and cheese on a roll in the village. practically anywhere in the world. This is the Croton Common Shopping Center. It used to be an A&P supermarket. Note the drive-up window on the bank on the right. I don't know if we'll have drive-up windows anymore because we'll all be doing our banking online probably in the future. This is the Croton Car Auto Park. It backs into the affordable housing unit. This is a Village DPW yard. There's a car wash and a gas. Tire warehouse, which you can see in that, has just been sold, and there's concerns it's going to turn into housing. Concerns about our schools being able to build into housing. Getting off at Croton Point Avenue, and again more housing is planned for this location. 3 5-story buildings of apartments. Whether they'll be affordable or not, I do not know, but again people are concerned about our schools and our ability to absorb that many new homes. We're going to swing down to the train station because they're in the process of putting up solar panels. On our right is where they plan all the housing. This is the train station. On the right is where all the battery storage for the solar panels will be. And the solar panels will now start lining this part of the parking lot on your right, acting as a canopy for many of the cars. See, the lot is not very full, and we're still way down on the number of commuters from COVID. COVID-19, people started working from home, and so we don't have a lot of commuters like we used to. This used to be totally full. All the way down to the end here were parked cars during regular business days. This is where they're working on installing some of the solar panels, although they had to put in drainage, so that slowed the project down. Tell by the way the film is bouncing, the road is in terrible shape. This is our salt barn and our canoe launch. And people store their canoes here all year. So we'll turn around. As you can see our poor railroad bridge, though, needs a major paint job, as it always usually does. In the winter, you'll see eagles flying down here. Another view of the construction for the solar panels. And they'll line all this parking. There'll be a canopy up and down here. And if you see the cell tower up ahead of us here, an osprey makes his home there. In the spring, you'll see him with his nest and his young osprey. Much of this was swampland at one point, and that's why it floods on heavy rains and high tides. You notice to my right, the parking is more congested. That's our daily rate. So people who are commuting from home, and they might work 3 days a week instead of 5, find it cheaper to do the daily rate. So they park here instead of on the other side of the street, and that's the monthly rate. This is again looking straight ahead where the new housing is planned, 3 5-story buildings. To my right is the Green Growler beer. My left is Franzoso Contracting, and Mark Franzoso, owner of that, does a lot of philanthropic work here in town, gives generously to charities. This is the ShopRite Plaza and ET Equipment. Whether this is going to turn into housing too, I don't know. That's been rumored for years. And we'll pass that in a second again. Ahead you'll see orange banners and orange pumpkins. That's for the yearly The Blaze Jack-O-Lantern show put on by Van Cortlandt Manor. This is the parking lot straight ahead for that. As we come up to the end of this driveway, you'll see to your right Van Cortlandt Manor, and the entrance right now is further back, but they made a deal with the village to trade property, and the entrance to Van Cortlandt will now come to about here in the future. And they traded a piece of land so the village could put in a sewer system and loop the water through the main water line. And again, this is ET Speed and Equipment Company. This is rumored to be a housing project someday. They've had interest in it, but nobody's followed through. And that would be high-rise apartments. This is our newest store on the right, the Hudson oven. They make fresh baked bread. We're going to come through downtown Harmon. This used to be the old Carvel on my right, then it turned into a restaurant, and it was something before Maracas. But right now it's been abandoned for several years. Now we're going to turn into Harmon, the housing part of Harmon, where all the single-family homes are. I'm going to loop you around. Catholic Church basketball court and chapel. We're soon approaching the Gottwald Circle. And this is going to be redone. They're doing a traffic study, I believe, to determine how to redo this intersection. Although I don't think it's a real problem with traffic and accidents, they want to redo it. This is our Lutheran church on the right. Here they're just redoing sidewalks and curbing. This is Cleveland Drive. And what you're seeing, the leaves on the street are from the trees. It's fall right now. But back there was the ginkgo tree, which has those awful smelling berries, and they litter the roads. And if you step in them, your feet will stink for weeks. Ginkgo tree leaves and berries. We're now coming up to the Five Corners. Official name is Veterans Corners. And this also is slated to have a redo. As you can see, it can get busy here. Makes it difficult to know who goes first and who doesn't, and people don't always know the rules of the road. This is our cemetery. There are Revolutionary era people buried here. And this is our library. Croton Free Library. It has a beautiful program room in the back. And yesterday we had a jazz concert here with world famous jazz musicians, and it was excellent. That was put on by the Arts and Humanities Committee. Straight ahead is the Ottinger Room. library director is Jesse Bordone. Jesse grew up here in town and is a wonderful library director and has a very deep connection to the community and our residents. You notice the street signs, some of them have a star on them. That means that it was a soldier who died in war. As you can see, the cemetery doesn't have a lot of room left. You'll notice there are banners hanging from our telephone poles. Those are to commemorate our veterans who came from Croton or live in Croton. And they'll stay up for another week. They're up from Memorial Day till Veterans Day and about a week after Veterans Day. Families pay for them, and they can have the banner at the end of the time, or they can give it to the village to keep for next year's display. This is Dobbs Field on our left. It was called Kennedy Field at one point after John F. Kennedy, our president. But it was renamed Dobbs Field after a long, dedicated volunteer for the community and who was very involved in Little League died. And they named it after the Dobbs family. Right here on the corner is a house, but it used to be a gas station. And as we come up on the right, you'll see a gray building with the three arches out front, the three porticos. That was a bar until about 3-4 months ago. It was called the Grandstand. It's now become housing. Go up Mount Airy for a short distance, just to the top. To the top of Mount Airy, you'll see a water tank at my left. This area at the top is known as the Trails. There's several roads here called the Trails. I'm going to go down Riverview Trail. And this road, when I was a child, we would sled ride down this, and they wouldn't plow the roads in the winter till, by the time they got to this road, it was probably 1 or 2 in the afternoon. So if you came out around 7 in the morning, you had a full day of sled riding down this incredibly long and steep hill. was always a tough turn when you were speeding down on the snow. This is now Sunset Trail. This is an apartment house on the right. Where we just went up Mount Airy. We're gonna go down Grand Street. This is the Grand Street Firehouse on our left. On my left is 140 Grand. It's a restaurant. Used to be Gallagher's Bar and Restaurant. And to my right is the Acker House, and that used to be a steakhouse. And we're back down where we were. This is our dummy light, and you can see where it was hit. That happened in the middle of the night. I don't know if they found out who did it or not. Cornelia Cotton Gallery. Cornelia is a long-standing, wonderful member of our community. She's in her 90s now, but she's still active and just wonderful as can be. This is the Van Wyck Apartments on our left. And to our right, there used to be a funeral home, Leach and Thomas, a little further back. It was torn down and turned into new homes. We're coming up on my right. We have Edward Carter Funeral Home. On my right, this is a medical office building. It used to be the Croton Watch Company, and Croton watches were known throughout the world as a very good watch. I believe they're still made, but they aren't what they once were. But this is the old watch company. And on the right here, you'll also see construction for new apartments. This was a hardware store. Croton Animal Hospital. And coming up, we'll have Third Universe on our right. It's very popular with our youth. And the Croton Tavern, which used to be Honey's and then Mary's before that, and that was rumored to be where Jackie Gleason played pool. We have the Washington Engine Firehouse, And this used to be Zola Marine. It's now an auto repair. Houses on, they're called the Stevenson Stone houses. And they're just beautiful. Inside they're even more beautiful. Back to the municipal building. I head down Old Post. Just take a slight detour down Terrace. I believe this is one of the older houses in our community. Straight ahead. And you'll see on the left, this building, which is now, I believe, a VFW, was the old town hall, way back when the village was incorporated. And down here on our left, on my left, straight ahead to the left, was an old perfume factory. And if you drove down here, the smell was unbelievable. It just smelled too sickly sweet. This is Brook Street. This is the back of the municipal building. This was our first, well, not our first, but one of our schools. It was a school before it was a municipal building. And you'll see a monument, I believe that's to World War I veterans. And that one is not visited very often. Our Memorial Day services are held at what's called Veterans Corners, the Five Corners. And now we're back where we started. Pulling into the municipal building. This is our Croton 125th sign. It was made for us by Van Cortlandt Manor for our barbecue, music, and friends event. After the event, they gave us the sign. We moved it around the village and took pictures of it in various places, but this is the home it found for now. On November 30th, the village will remove it, but we've asked people to take a picture of themselves, a selfie, in front of it, and we're going to put the selfies in the time capsule.